Hello, everyone. Tonight's story isn't born from imagination, it's a real event from China's forgotten past. A tale so unsettling that even now whispers of it linger in the winds of that place. They say it happened on a cold night in the 19th century, in a quiet village where something occurred that defied explanation. Some called it a government order, others believed it was a curse, and a few swore it was a pact with something not quite human. When the villagers slept, the alleys came alive, faint scratches on wood, the rustle of paper, and unseen footsteps echoing through the fog. By morning, every door bore a strange mark, and every face carried a silent fear. No one truly knew how it began, and the most haunting truth of all was that it never really ended. So come with me back to that misty Chinese night, where not a man but a mystery changed the destiny of an entire village forever. In the winter of 1823, a thin layer of fog rolled through the narrow alleys of a small village in Zhejiang province. Wooden houses, worn by decades of rain and sun, seemed to hold their breath, as though aware of something unseen. Faint, almost imperceptible scratches echoed through the streets, causing the villagers to pause mid-step. No one could tell where the sound came from, yet it was as if every ear and every eye in the village was subtly drawn toward it. Children pressed close to their mothers, eyes wide with curiosity and fear, while the elders exchanged glances that carried centuries of silent warning. The village had survived generations of hardship, famine, and foreign incursions, and its traditions ran deep. Food stores were sacred. Every granary was protected with traps, vigilance, and superstition. Yet in the winter of that year, the village magistrate introduced a decree unlike any before. A decree that came to be whispered as the rat license. No one could say exactly what it meant. The license was not a piece of paper to display, nor a simple token of authority. Rumors circulated that it required more than skill with traps or quick hands. It demanded understanding, patience, and a sensitivity to unseen movements. On foggy nights, villagers reported hearing delicate scratching and soft, irregular scurrying from seemingly empty corners. Those who listened closely said the sounds carried messages, though no one could fully comprehend them. In one of the village's oldest houses, a faint glow slipped through the wooden shutters. Lima, the eldest woman in the village, sat in quiet observation. Her face was serene, but her eyes held knowledge too deep for words. She had witnessed decades of change, from foreign merchants passing through to mysterious visitors in the dead of night. She understood instinctively that some truths could only be grasped through experience and intuition, not instruction. The following day, a stranger arrived. His garments were simple, but his gait carried an unusual confidence, and his eyes held a sharp, almost unnatural light. He walked directly into the village square and asked, "Who here commands the rats?" The villagers fell silent, unsure whether to step forward or retreat. His presence alone seemed to thicken the air, like the subtle pull of an unseen tide, and it was clear that his arrival signaled the beginning of a hidden game. From beneath his coat, the stranger produced a small wooden box. With deliberate care, he opened it, and a rat emerged. Not an ordinary rat, but one whose eyes gleamed with something unexplainable. The villagers gasped, as if confronted with a secret long buried. "Whoever can play with this rat," the stranger said in a low, deliberate tone, "will earn the right to the license." Among the onlookers, a young man named Yan stood apart. He carried only a slender wooden staff, but his eyes burned with curiosity, patience, and a strange perceptiveness. He could hear the faintest scratches, feel the subtlest vibrations through the ground, and sense a rhythm in the rat's movements that others could not perceive. As night deepened, a silent dialogue began to unfold between Yan and the rat, invisible to all others, yet unmistakably present. The elders warned that the license was no ordinary measure of skill or mastery. It was a symbol of unseen forces, testing the boundaries between human perception and the natural world. The rat was no mere creature. It was both a participant and a messenger, carrying knowledge of the village's past and hints of its potential future. Over the following week, the stranger organized a series of trials. Villagers, each hoping to prove themselves, wandered through narrow alleys, guided only by faint scratching and the occasional glimmer of a rat's eye. Some faltered quickly, overcome by fear or miscalculation, while others moved silently, attempting to anticipate the movements of their small, clever opponents. It became evident that the license demanded more than agility. It demanded understanding, patience, and the courage to face what could not be seen. Yan soon realized that the game tested him in ways beyond the physical. Every scratch and shuffle was a puzzle, a whisper from the unseen, linking him not only to the rat, but to the village's history itself. The alleys, the houses, even the fog seemed alive with memories, and Yan understood that the challenge extended far beyond the immediate task. One night, as the fog thickened, the stranger presented the final trial. Yan sensed that this challenge was not merely about capturing or directing the rat. It was about recognizing patterns, anticipating unseen intentions, and understanding the interconnectedness of all things within the village. The rat moved in ways that seemed almost deliberate, its tiny gestures carrying meaning beyond the ordinary. By dawn, the stranger had disappeared. A list of those who had earned the license was quietly circulated, though no one outside the circle understood its significance. Yan, holding the rat in his box, realized that nothing in his life would ever be the same. The village continued its routines, but an unspoken question lingered in every alley and every heart. Where does true power lie, and what unseen forces shape it? Yan, now a custodian of the license, understood that some truths were only accessible through experience and perception. Every night, faint scratches echoed through the streets, a reminder that the game was far from over, and that each movement, each shadow, carried a hidden lesson. Yan held the rat carefully in his small wooden box as he walked the narrow, fog-filled alleys of the village. The night was colder now, and each breath seemed to carry whispers of the unseen. The houses, aged and weathered by decades of sun and rain, cast long, twisting shadows across the pass. Every corner, every doorway felt like it was alive, watching, waiting. The village's serene appearance was only an illusion. Beneath it lay an invisible web of tests and signals, one that the rat license governed silently. Li Ma, the eldest woman of the village, watched Yan from her window. Her voice barely a whisper, she said, "Be careful, boy. What can be seen is not always understood, and what is understood does not always protect." Yan nodded, his mind sharp with determination. He realized that he now needed more than skill or patience. He needed to understand the subtle patterns woven through the village's history and the movements of the unseen forces that lingered in every alleyway. Over the next few nights, Yan observed a change in the rats' behavior. They were no longer merely scavengers. They seemed to follow precise, almost ritualistic patterns, scanning the streets, reacting to every movement of the villagers in their own kind. Each scratch, each scurry, carried meaning, a language Yan could now begin to decipher. He felt the threads of a network connecting the present to the village's past, a network that few had ever truly comprehended. One evening, while exploring a forgotten corner of the village, Yan discovered an ancient chest hidden beneath rotting floorboards. He opened it cautiously, revealing a collection of old rat licenses, faded scrolls, and cryptic symbols. The documents recounted the history of previous guardians, mysterious visitors, and strange occurrences that had shaped the village for decades. Some sections were indecipherable, worn with age, while others hinted at rituals and rules unknown to the uninitiated. As Yan pored over the texts, he realized the true purpose of the license. It was not merely about skill or dominance over the rats. It represented a profound connection between human perception and unseen forces, linking the past, present, and future of the village. Each guardian of the license became part of this continuum, their lives forever intertwined with the rhythms of the unseen world. The following night, Yan released the rat into the alleys once more. It moved with a strange luminescence, eyes glinting with knowledge beyond comprehension. He realized that the rat was a conduit, revealing the hidden history of the village and hinting at dangers yet to come. In that instant, Yan understood that he was no longer a mere participant in the trials. He had become the village's new custodian, entrusted with secrets and responsibilities far greater than he had imagined. But the deeper Yan delved into the mysteries of the license, the more he sensed an imminent and dangerous truth. The stranger who had introduced the license was not simply a visitor, or a judge. He was a bearer of ancient power, an observer of those who could perceive the village's hidden dynamics. Every movement, every decision made by Yan was being silently recorded, evaluated, and tested. One night, as fog thickened and the moon cast long, eerie shadows, Yan wandered the streets clutching his box. The rat suddenly leapt from his hands, darting into the darkness with a speed and precision that seemed almost supernatural. Yan's heart raced. Each scratch and scurry became part of a larger pattern he was only beginning to comprehend. It was now clear that the license was not merely a game or test, but a portal into the village's most guarded secrets. The village elders approached Yan cautiously. Their faces were solemn. "Yan," one whispered, "you must understand. The license is not about winning, nor is it about control. It is a burden, a bond with the village's past and future. Those who accept it are never the same as they were before." Yan drew a deep breath. He understood that he was no longer just a young man learning a game. He was now the village's guardian, its interpreter of hidden forces, and its keeper of secrets. And yet, with this understanding came fear. The unseen movements, the cryptic signs, and the rat's luminescent guidance were all hints of something larger, more ancient, and more perilous than Yan had ever imagined. As he walked the alleys late into the night, Yan felt the weight of centuries pressing upon him. Every scratch, every scurry, every flicker of movement was a message, a reminder that the rat license was eternal, and the responsibilities it conferred could not be relinquished. The village itself seemed alive with whispers of the past, murmuring secrets to those who had ears to hear. Then, as the first light of dawn broke across the horizon, Yan saw it, a figure emerging from the mist. It was the stranger, though not entirely as he remembered. His presence carried an otherworldly authority, and his gaze pierced through time itself. "Yan," the voice echoed, though no lips moved. "You now understand that the license is more than a test. It is the confluence of past, present, and future. What you have seen is only the beginning, and soon you will see the truth that no one in this village has ever faced." A chill ran through Yan. He realized that his journey was far from over. The license was not simply a challenge to be completed. It was a lifetime commitment, binding him to the village, to its unseen inhabitants, into forces beyond comprehension. Every alley, every shadow, every sound would be a constant reminder of the knowledge he now bore. In the following nights, Yan began to notice patterns he had not seen before. The rats, moving with astonishing precision, seemed to communicate with one another in ways that suggested intelligence and purpose far beyond ordinary understanding. It became clear that they were the eyes and ears of the village, the carriers of its deepest secrets, and the arbiters of its fate. Yan's understanding grew, but so did his anxiety. The stranger's warnings echoed in his mind. Knowledge is never without consequence. Those who bear it are changed irrevocably. And in the quiet moments, when Yan's eyes met the rat's luminous gaze, he felt the weight of the village's history pressing upon his soul. One particularly foggy night, Yan traced the rat to the farthest corner of the village, where the oldest buildings leaned precariously over narrow canals. There he discovered a hidden chamber beneath the foundations. Inside, faded scrolls, ancient tools, and remnants of previous guardians lay in meticulous arrangement. Each object seemed to pulse with a memory, a story waiting to be understood. Yan realized that this was the heart of the rat license, the true repository of the village's knowledge and power. And then, the shocking truth became undeniable. The license, the trials, the stranger, the rats, everything was a system designed to preserve the village's hidden past while preparing it for threats that only the initiated could see. The guardians were not merely participants. They were watchers of time, protectors of secrets, and interpreters of forces beyond mortal perception. Yan's heart pounded as the rat leapt onto a scroll, pointing to a symbol he could not decipher. In that instant, the fog seemed to swirl around him, and the figure of the stranger appeared again, indistinct, almost spectral. "Remember, Yan," the voice whispered, "what you have inherited is eternal. What you have seen is only the shadow of the truth. Soon you will understand that the license never truly ends, and neither does its demand." As dawn broke fully over the village, Yan stood silently in the hidden chamber. The rat perched on his shoulder, eyes glimmering with knowledge. He understood that his life had irrevocably changed. He was no longer merely a boy in a village. He was now a guardian, bound by history, duty, and secrets unseen by the rest of the world. The alleyways, the soft scratches, the faint glimmers in the fog, they were all reminders that the game, the rat license, and the unseen powers it represented were far from over. The villagers went about their daily routines, unaware of the vast hidden mechanisms at play. But Jan, now fully aware of his responsibilities, realized that the village itself had become a living entity, constantly observing, adapting, and testing those who walked within it. He felt the weight of knowledge pressing on him, a mixture of awe, fear, and determination. And in the final moments, the rat fixed its gaze on Jan with a depth that seemed almost human. A single thought echoed in his mind. This was not an end, but a beginning. The true test, the shocking truth of the license, was yet to reveal itself. And when it did, nothing would ever be the same again.